Buddy, I hate to tell you this, but your time is limited. Really important point here, when you are defrosting your turkey, be sure to put it in something. You should be expecting some leakage from your package a little bit. Admittedly, I don't have a big enough cutting board, but the white one is the one I always use for chicken. The green is usually the swing one. You know, I really can't stress this enough. You're going to need to make sure that you have everything on hand to clean up afterwards. I'm trying to not make too big of a mess here. I've discarded some of the liquid that leaked out during the defrost. I'm going to need to be able to pay attention, though, to kind of wiping everything down very thoroughly once I'm done. But here we need to unpackage it and start to remove a lot of those extra pieces. Something else I'm an advocate for, remove that pop-up thermometer. That's going to make sure it goes to 165, but if you pull your turkey out at 165, it will be dry. What I mean specifically is that if you pull it out at 165 and then you let it sit for its resting period, it'll carry over cook probably to around 170-ish, and that's going to be a little bit too dry, particularly for some of the breast meat. Helpful hint, go ahead and pull out the turkey neck and the gizzards. If you haven't already made your stock for your gravy, this is going to be helpful in helping with some of that flavor. This is the part of the video where I really need to advocate for strong and sharp kitchen shears. I went through not one but two pair. I eventually just used a really sharp knife. A week prior to Thanksgiving, and I'd already done some legwork and made some homemade stock, so I didn't really need this piece that I'm about to clip off here. I don't even know the name of it. If somebody knows, leave a note in the comment, but I just clipped it off and put it with the neck and the gizzards, putting it back into the freezer for the next time I need to make some homemade stock. You know, I like to keep things kind of real on the channel. This to me is just a reminder of sometimes how the finished product can come out and taste amazing, right? So the struggle is worth it. I grabbed another set of shears here. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of, really sharp shears. You're going to see this pop off here, a little piece pop off, and it was about that point that I decided I'm just going to go with a really sharp knife, and it ended up working out a whole lot better. Once you get the backbone removed, though, you're going to want to orient your bird a little bit, and you're not going to be giving it CPR here. You're eventually going to try to just tuck those wings down, like out it, like a little bit under. They have a tendency to burn. Then, this is going to sound a little gross, finish breaking like the breastbone. Push down a little bit, get it a little bit more even, and that's going to help for a more even cook. You know, we could have a whole other discussion and video about dry brine versus wet brine. And it's true, folks. The dry brine is going to be a little bit different than the wet. Now, the wet tends to work a lot more consistently, I think, with leaner cuts of meat, like the turkey breast and the chicken breast. But I'm choosing to do the whole bird here, so I'm choosing the dry brine method on purpose. Pat it down, liberally season, but don't over season. You want a nice, thick, kind of like even coat. And what we're looking for here is that it's going to help to sit in the refrigerator for hopefully about 24 hours. And what it's going to do is kind of dry out the exterior and the skin and hopefully seal in some of the internal moisture of your bird at that point. If you thought just playing with turkey was mess enough, you're going to want to go ahead and probably take your ring off for this one. Kind of just notice, though, when I pull it out of the fridge after the dry brine process, there's a little bit of discoloration, so we know that that dry brine has started to do its job. But at this point, though, it's the morning of. I want to get this onto the smoker. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply some butter. Now, why am I adding butter? It's not just to make a mess. Now, when you want to add butter, it's going to help do a couple of things. One, it's going to kind of help keep the bird itself from getting dry, particularly if you're opening up some of that skin and separating the skin from the meat and kind of shoving the butter inside. We're going to do an injection too, but the other thing that the butter is going to do is kind of help with the process of getting that skin crispy throughout the smoking process. The other nice thing about butter, it's going to help hold your seasoning in place. It's going to give it something to hold on to. What I'm using here is a little bit of meat church, but what's important is that you use what you like. I mentioned I was going to do an injection flavor as well. Honestly, melted butter and a little bit of apple juice. What I like to do here is just kind of try to insert the pin in and just get a little bit of juice in. You're going to see it rise a little bit. And I like to do this before I put it on the smoker, and I'm going to do it a couple of times while it's going in the smoking process as well. And I got a little bit of seasoning off, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that right here. And in between doing all of this, I got the smoker ready. It's ready now at about 250 degrees with some apple wood chunks and charcoal. That's ready to go on. It looks good. Alright y'all, I know the star on this particular day is the turkey itself, but I didn't want to, have the video pass without kind of showing some of the other stuff we had going on at the table as well. We really love oven roasted vegetables, so I want to dice up some broccoli and some carrots. They're going to get some veggie sprinkles. I believe those veggie sprinkles are out of Fiesta Bolners in San Antonio. Not sponsored or anything, just a product that we use almost every single day, and it came out really well as a side dish this year. It wouldn't be a holiday or, gosh, even Sunday supper for that matter without mashed potatoes. And I'm channeling my inner granny here. It's appropriate because that cutting board, it's hers. When she passed, I grabbed it. But what we're looking for here, as I tried to not peel off all the potato like she did, we want even pieces here. It's going to help it cook a little bit more evenly. And that's what we're going for here when we put them in a rolling boil of some salty water. Once they're done, fork tender, then we're going to put them in a container, and I do have one of those mixers that I can mix everything up, and just like in true granny fashion, they're going to get some butter. If need be, they'll sit in a crock pot on keep warm until everything is ready. They start to dry out, sorry, it's not very healthy, just add a little bit more butter. And it's a holiday, so we indulge a little bit. I've been experimenting with some bread recipes, but I didn't want to risk it on an actual holiday and risk messing it up. So some go-to rolls that we had in the freezer, a little bit of melted butter, and they're going to go into the oven. You see the stovetop label there? Totally admitting it. I did not make my own stuffing, but fun fact, we eat stovetop all year round. It's just one of our most favorite things. And here's the finished product, roughly 45 minutes per pound on the turkey, and let it rest for 15 minutes. I can't wait to dig in. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I hope your Thanksgiving was as great as ours. Remember to feed yourself and live life outside of the work that you do.